It starts now. Three, two, one.
Is there anyone here that would like to communicate with us?
Putting a dip in your hip, a glide in your stride. Welcome to the mothership, the home of the travelers of the universe, with shows throughout the week. Everything you want, everything you could need. From the paranormal to the supernatural, from the spiritual to the unknown, from emotions to comedy. You can find us at Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and so much more. This is R.I.F.T Nation Network, the RNN. And now, your featured show. Shall we begin?
Happy Monday. Good evening, everybody. Hello, Miss Lee. How are you? We'll give everybody a chance to come on in. I'm glad everybody is joining us tonight on True Crime Monday, Mysteries Beyond the Scene on the R.I.F.T Nation Network. We are streaming live on Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, and pretty soon ready to get onto TikTok. We're going to get on to TikTok, just get a few more like glitches taken care of, and then we'll be live on TikTok. So I hope everybody is doing well on this Monday evening and ready for how are you, true crimers? Are we ready for a good Monday evening? Let's hope so. Hello, Miss Linda. Hello, Lee. Hello, Hitman, Odell, and Facebook user at everyone. How are you? How's everybody's Monday? Are we excited about a good show? This is going to be kind of it, like, not really like a missing person show, just kind of some true crime updates and just some general information. I think the TikTok psychic lawsuit is very, very interesting. And the DC Pipebomber suspect is getting a lot of play right now. You know, it's been since 2020, January 2021, and they still have not captured him with all the technology. So we're going to take a look at the astrology and see what we can see in the pipe bomber from Washington. As you all know, that happened on January the 5th, the night before the J6th attack on the Capitol the following day. So thanks for tuning in tonight. Thank you, guys. Please hit like and subscribe. And let's get started. How are you, Miss Linda? How are you? How are you, Mr. Hitman? It's like Howie said, please hit that thumbs up if you're on YouTube, like and share, and please subscribe. That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So let's get started, you guys. And just a quick show note following this show. Sir Keith will be on here with one of my favorite people, Miss Donna, who actually owns a shop in my area. She has a metaphysical store. It's a darling shop. I have got to get up to go visit her. They will be doing tarot readings following this true crime tonight. So stick around after we get off this show. Go get a soda or a pop, whatever part of the country you're in or the world. Pop, Coke, Diet Coke, soda. I don't know. What do you guys call it? We call it a pop. And join Keith. So, how are you, Miss Linda? How are you, Miss Tammy? I hope everybody's doing well. We're good. We're glad to see you. Good to be here. I'm glad to see you guys. I look forward to our Monday evenings. It's kind of like our Monday chit chat group. You know, we get together, we bring on put our minds together, and we're going to solve mysteries. So that's just what we do here on Monday nights on the R.I.F.T Nation Network. And we have Tammy, who is our PI, our really licensed PI, search and rescue expert, and the rest of my, clairvoyants. Lots of clairvoyants come into the group. And I appreciate all of their clues and their help. Oh, and one quick note, we covered the Doulos case last week, which was the trial. Jennifer Doulos went missing, and we covered that last week. The trial is ongoing for her ex-husband's girlfriend, who is charged with murder or conspiracy. That trial is ongoing. As soon as I get another good timestamp, we will do some more mapping. So I have all of your clues next to what you all gave me from last week, like cinder blocks, the tobacco area. And I'm waiting. I listen intently to the trial. But if you all have ever listened to a trial, the detectives will methodically, the prosecution will methodically put a case out there. Like it goes on and on and on forever. But they are slowly but surely building the building blocks to their case. Case is getting very interesting this week. You know, it was very sad. Her mother has been attending the trial, Jennifer's mom, who has taken over the care of the children, her 5 children. And unfortunately, as we all saw last week, we watched Jennifer's husband throw the trash bags of evidence away. They uncovered the trash bags this week and brought out some of her clothing, which was very shocking to see. It was shocking for the it was shocking for me. I was upset. It upset me. I cannot imagine what the family, you know, when the families go through trials, think about it, they are reliving this whole entire nightmare again. And they're finally, I think it's the reality of what has occurred hits them. So we always need to think of the families and say a little prayer when we see like, oh, this trial's going on. Just shoot up a little prayer of strength to the families because it's rough. I mean, it was a rough week. This week we are still going over methodically placing every little block, and that's what prosecutors do. And for those of us that have been in the legal field, putting together trial notebooks, you know, every little thing is tabbed and it's a nightmare. But to say the least, it's going to be probably a 6 to 7 week long trial. So as soon as I hear something, I'll bring it to you guys. Hi, Carrie Lynn. How are you? Hi, Tammy. And Ruff from our little friend, Bach. And Tammy, that would be great for you one night. Perhaps we could figure this out and have a show with Bach. Come on with Michael from Peace River and talk to our search and rescue folks and get the information that they put out there. And you know, you guys have heard me say it repeatedly. The Earth Angels, they are our search and rescue people. They're there for the families. You know, they're psychologists. They are the people that put their lives on the line with their animals. They go out into the terrain that we can't, snakes, alligators, water. They go, tarantulas. Tammy has probably seen it all. So give Bach a big hug for us. Bach is her search and rescue, her German Shepherd. Hi, Miss Lisa. How are you? I hope everybody's having an excellent, excellent Monday. So let's get started on this. Is an interesting case with the TikTok psychic who actually, this lawsuit is ongoing. And I think it's pretty interesting because we have chatted so many times is how far do you go with what the families go through to not have to put up with the onslaught of social media that the families do indeed go through. And I think it's some of the families, I feel it's borderline abusive. So let's take a look at this case. And I think this is a landmark case because if this kind of action continues, more people are going to sue. And so I think it's going to be where social media and true crime community needs to step back and say, I better be careful what I say and who I say it to, because you're going to be held liable. So let's take a look at it. And thank you, Renee, for sharing out. And Tammy said he loves Auntie Key and Auntie Kathy. Oh, so cute. He's chewing on his ball on the couch. He's listening to true crime. Bach is listening to the show. Bach, we're going to have to bring Bach on the show. Okay, so let's take a look at the psychic TikToker. This is so interesting. So let me give you a little bit of background on this case. And I know you all have heard about this tragedy. On November 13th in 2022, all of us were stunned in the United States when 3 lovely young ladies and a young man from Idaho, University of Idaho, were brutally and savagely unalived, because we got to be careful what we say, at their home. And they were college kids and they were attacked. The 2 girls and then the young couple to the left, they were all brutally attacked on that November evening. Okay. So there are the kids. And now this week, the person that allegedly has been arrested for this murder, it slipped. He was in court again this week trying to get his case dismissed. Of course, it was not. So they are putting that on the trial calendar. This is going to be another trial. It looks like this one won't hit until 2025 or so. So we'll be following this one. So what happened is this went on back in November, if you all recall, just to refresh your mind a little. Everybody, who did it? Where is this person? What has happened? This went on for quite a while, where they were looking for whoever did this to these 4 young kids. They're not children, but to me, they're kids. So this went on, and then an arrest was made. Well, in the meantime, as what you can imagine, social media blew up. Okay, so we've got someone called the TikTok psychic, tarot card psychic. So let's just kind of say, okay, what are tarot cards? What are oracle cards? What's the difference? Okay, I did a little bit of some information. Tarot cards are a deck of 78 cards. They are divided into 4 suits. You've got cups, you've got wands, pentacles, and swords. Got 22 major arcana cards, 56 minor arcana cards, and then you've got your court cards. So you've got, if for someone to say a tarot reader, this person has been studying this for quite a long time. If they pull out cards that are not court cards, there's not a huge deck of cards, they are not tarot readers. So we've got red flag number 1. If the person claims to be there's red flags that everybody can see. Okay. It's not to say that tarot is better than oracle, but when somebody's advertising something that they're not really reading, we've got red flags. Okay. So I just kind of laid out what's the difference between oracle cards and a tarot card reading. And they are very different. Tarot cards are what are called like it's a fixed reading. The cards mean one thing. One card means one thing only, and upside down is another meaning. So it's not like the tower card pretty much means the tower card. When it's upside down, it moves to like a catastrophic. Sometimes cards upside down are a positive meaning. Sometimes it's a little bit more malefic. You just don't know. Oracle cards are cards that someone either makes themselves or they are made, and it's just kind of like a guidance. They have like an angel oracle deck will have blessings or messages or whatever. So there's a big difference. Tarot cards are about 15th century. Oracle cards really became popular with the New Age in about the 1990s. So you got a big, huge difference there. Okay. Now, the TikToker psychic said that this woman, who's an Idaho history professor, PhD at that, and a gifted author, she is a history major. Like I said, PhD. The TikTok psychic said that this professor was having a relationship with one of the girls and hired somebody to do this horrendous crime. She used her intuition, she used her psychic ability and her tarot cards to blame this woman. That was her evidence. Now, if the media frenzy around the Idaho 4 was out of control. So the professor came back and said, I wasn't even here when this happened. None of those kids were in any of my classes. I don't know any of the kids. This is ridiculous. Well, as you can imagine, this continued and continued. So the professor did what is called a cease and desist. Now, you can do a cease and desist one of two ways. In an order, it's issued by a government agency or a court, and it requires the offender to stop the activity. It also requires the offender to respond to the court, and it prohibits the offender from continuing that activity. Or now, that comes from the court or government agency. Or you can do a cease and desist letter. Like I could do one to somebody that says, I did this or that. It can be written by anyone. You simply ask the offender to stop the activity. It requires a response from the offender. So you say, please respond, but it does not prohibit the activity. Okay, so for example, a person can do it or they can go to court. One of two ways you can handle that with a cease and desist letter. You don't necessarily have to have an attorney to write that letter. So she sent numerous letters, and the TikToker provided, I think, close to about 100 TikToks alleging that the professor was indeed responsible for this terrible, 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 horrendous incident with the 4 kids. So the professor actually was left with no other choice but to sue for defamation. Now, it's true that when all of the media frenzy was going on, if you were to Google in this professor, this is what you're going to find on her is this. Not that she's a PhD, young and accomplished, educated, wonderful person. You're going to find this garbage. So, in other words, I don't think she had much of a choice because that's how you're going to remember this woman, unfortunately. You know? So, what had happened is the TikToker represented herself. She did not get a lawyer, and that's called a pro se. If they represent themselves without a lawyer, that person is a pro se. Pro se. So what happened is the TikToker turned around and countersued. Well, of course, there were no legal grounds. This was filed in federal court. So the judge dismissed the countersuit from the TikToker. You simply, if you're any type of on social media, if you're a TikToker, if you're anything, you cannot accuse someone. It's not your First Amendment right. Everybody can say, oh, it's my first. No, it's not. You cannot accuse somebody of something that you have no proof. Nothing. You cannot do it. You cannot name names. You cannot say, you can't do it. You're going to get sued. So to make a long story short, this is ongoing now. The judge dismissed the counterclaim. This week, I think it was this week or at the end of December, the professor has filed, with her lawyer, that the judge order what's called a summary judgment. So, for example, the TikToker is not going within the specifications that the court set out on interrogatories or on discovery. Therefore, summary judgment. Rule in my favor, judge, because this person is not following the law or what have you. So that's where this stands. And, punitive damages or damages can be high. We saw that this week with X number 45, DT. What is it, like 480 some million? He was hit with that punitive damages. Punitive damages are damages that they say, you know what? This is your punishment for doing this. So this is going to be interesting to watch because it's going to set a precedent on what social media can, where it's going to lead. I think, of course, my opinion, and I'm not a lawyer, but certainly not a lawyer, but she's going to be issued the summary judgment, and that's going to set a precedent for people to not name names or say, well, the boy, she was dating a guy, so I think it was her boyfriend, John Rich. You cannot do that. You cannot do it. It's not your First Amendment right. You cannot accuse people without, and in her countersuit, they kept, the federal judge was so kind. The judges are very kind to people that represent themselves. I see it. They're very, very kind. And they get away with things that lawyers don't get away with because they're not lawyers. And where did you come up with what's your proof that shows that she committed these crimes? Well, she said, intuition and the tarot cards. Well, sorry. So I think a good rule of thumb is true crimers don't name names. True crimers respect families that are going through this and be respectful of their family and their family names. And if you have clairvoyant clues, or even with the astrology, we never do that. Our goal is to find people. It's not, we let law enforcement do their jobs. I think it's a great rule of thumb to have. So I think that's very, very interesting. What do you guys think? What are your thoughts? Do you ever see Ellie getting sued for not searching? No, because they're pretty well. They can't. No, I've never. No, they do not. No, that would be like um, an ambulance person. If they're working on them and they pass away, and it's not some kind of a neglect. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, but no. Are they uniformed? Who's uniformed? I'm confused. Are they uniformed? Did you ever see law enforcement getting sued for not searching for a missing person? No, I have never. No. I think a lot of it is stay on them. If they're not searching, that yes, that's here. Lee thought of my word, protected. Yes, I don't know the legal term, but okay, here we go with Miss Lisa. That's why a lot of real tarot readers put for yes, they do, and yes, they do, and for starters, for anybody that reads tarot or has a tarot deck will give you court cards and you can kind of maybe do a physical description. As in astrology, this person could be dark haired, they could be blonde. It's not going to tell you somebody's name. I mean, it's just the tarot cards just don't do that. No divination does that. There's no divination out there that does that. So I think it's just a really good idea for a good rule of thumb, especially with tarot. And unfortunately, it gives people that are serious psychics and or tarot readers, it really is very difficult when there are very legit clairvoyants and tarot readers out there, that this kind of tarnishes people that are very serious about their trade. And I hate to see that. Okay, Miss Linda, my daughter is going through this with someone accusing and wanted her charged with negligent homicide instead of letting the police focus on the person who committed the crime and is in jail through the hearing. She has caused so much damage. So we see an example of one of our own, who Linda is one of our own girls and boys. She's in our family. And her family is currently going through this by someone accusing her daughter who has lost her daughter. So not only is her daughter going through this mess because she's lost her daughter, which is Linda's daughter, they're having to put up with somebody pretty well dissing their name and accusing and putting out misinformation on her daughter. So, I just think that's horrible that families go through this. So, Linda, what would you, so from where you come from, what do you think about this case with the TikToker? People say, well, it's First Amendment rights, but it's not in your First Amendment right to accuse somebody of a horrific crime, not without proof. And Lisa says the closest thing would be pendulum and pendulum board, but it's never 100% guaranteed. Correct. And somebody that is a pendulum and a pendulum board expert would be the last person that would go out and name names and accuse people. We've seen that a lot, and it's very hurtful. And to a grieving mom, like Linda said, it's just horrific. And it's horrible that instead of Linda and her family not being able to concentrate on law enforcement and what the family is going through, getting prepared for trial, they're dealing with somebody out there trying to collect money and trying to do all these horrific things to her daughter. And It's just terrible. Here we go, Miss Tammy. Here we go, Linda. Linda, don't back down, get angry and aggressive. And Lisa says, exactly. Okay, now Tammy says, okay, maybe assertive. Yeah, that's true, Linda. Oh, we love you, Linda. We don't like to see this. Thank you, Tammy. We love you, and you know it's a shame, you guys, that families have to go through this. In addition to what they're going through now. So, in other words, when we see it happening, I just don't watch that person, or I don't subscribe to them, or I won't. And Miss Tammy says, depression can hold you down. Don't let it. Oh, we do love you, Linda. Love you too. Linda's family. We're all family here. We're the true crime family. We're true crimers. So let's take a look, everybody. This is kind of interesting, and I'd like to have your feedback because the charts were a little weird, Keithy. This is weird. This is like down Keith's Scorpio alley. The DC pipe bomber on January the 5th. So this is a little bit weird, guys. Okay, so if you all, I know we all know this, but I'll refresh. Here's the FBI seeking information for the suspected pipe bomber in Washington, D.C. So we've got his shoes. We've got what he looks like. Of course, that was during lockdown, so everybody had their masks on. And looks, of course, like he's in complete disguise. We can't even tell if it's a he or a she. We don't know. I can't tell. Can you all? Don't know. This is the actual cam footage from the actual PB. Okay, so this is where he was in front of the DNC, okay, which is the Democrat National Convention. He went there first, was caught on film, and then took a walk and went to the RNC. Okay, so let's take, okay, so there's the DNC. All right, that was his route. So this is his route, and he's walking. And this is right before J6. Okay, Lisa, this was the night before J6. We had a pipe bomber. So we've got the pipe bomb was dropped off at the DNC at 7 p.m. And then he walked down to the RNC and dropped off another one. Okay. So this is where he went behind the RNC. Okay. And there's the quote unquote pipe bomb that they found. So this is the route. This is what to me is very, very interesting is we've got the DNC. It's called the Fairchild Building. And then he walked, that was at 7:34 p.m. He walked and walked down to the RNC and dropped off another one. They were not found until the following day. Okay. So we've got a lot of video of him. We've got excellent video of him. They have not been able to locate him or her, him or her. I don't know. And you know, you guys, we don't hear too much about this, do we? We hear about the people that on J6 were all, you know, what happened there. But for a pipe bomber, we've not, you know, the FBI, you can look on their website. They've got a really cool video that they have put together. And I think a lot of it is because of the lockdown, and you just can't see them. So this is the chart. If you look closely, the chart on the DNC, okay, that night, which was January 5th. So we do mundane astrology, which the houses mean something different. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I didn't get a whole lot out of the charts. As a matter of fact, I don't think that, I guess I could go out on a limb, allegedly, but just in my opinion, I never see where a BOMB was even in anywhere in the chart. Like when we look at Hiroshima or Nagasaki, you can see Pluto, Mars, Uranus. Boom. There's nothing in these charts that show any kind of a BOMB. I can't see it. So maybe somebody wasn't good at what they put together. I don't know. So if we look at it, you can see where they were caught on film, the red lighting that I put up in the 8th house, the entire 6th house, which is day-to-day routine. That's people, that's work, that's us, is the government. Up to the midheaven, we see military, police. That's the judicial. It could have been by a big highway. And there's the perp. Nothing. This chart doesn't really reveal a whole lot of anything. So, of course, you know, when you're in this stuff and you do true crime and we do this, we keep digging, right? So the next chart I did was, let me look. Let me find the chart that I did right there. Let me see where the yellow is. Okay, what I did is I used the USA chart, the United States natal chart. I thought, well, let's look at January the 6th, the day that the Capitol was breached. Let's see what happened there. Because I thought maybe that will give us some answers. So what is very interesting, the culprit on the day that the breach of the Capitol occurred is little Mr. Mars down at the bottom in the 29th degree of Aries. Strongest degree. You can see I circled it and wrote 29. It went in, Mars went into Taurus at 6 o'clock that night, jumped right onto Uranus. Boom. There's where we see the chaos, the massive chaos. The minute Mars went into Taurus by 5, 6 o'clock that night, everything was done. So I'm thinking, okay, that was, there we go. Mars was our culprit. You know, J6 is very confusing to look at with the charts. It's very confusing because it's all government. You know, that whole mess of government is opposing. We've got Mercury is opposing Mercury, meaning there was so much massive confusion. Nobody knew what they were talking about. The communications were down. We've got, of course, everybody knows by now, Neptune was opposing Neptune in the US chart, which is complete scandal. It's not being able to see, it's cloudiness. And the moon is sitting right on top of Neptune. That's the people. The people were confused. The people were not getting the right, what they wanted to hear. It's all there. You can see all of that. Now, where this comes into play with the night before with the BOMB, I don't see it. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I don't even think these two were BOMBs because there's nothing in the chart that shows that. Now, were those placed there to, I'm thinking they were placed there as decoys to possibly take, you know, the instigators or the not good people, put them there to get the police directed away from the Capitol. That's my thought. I don't know it. I'm guessing because there's nothing in the chart that shows that there was something planted there. Nothing. Could that perp be a go-between for someone else who may have actually had the BOMB? Very well could be. But again, I don't see it. Oh, okay. Here's Lisa. I'm feeling decoy. That's what I'm thinking too. And if you look at the J6 chart, it's massive confusion. You know, the moon was hitting Libra, which is the moon in mundane astrology. It's the people. The people wanted their justice, or they wanted fairness. You know, Libra's all about fairness, and we want answers. And there was confusion, and Mercury and Mars were just, you can see it all. So Keith agrees. I don't think there was ever a BOMB. It's not in the charts. It's not there. It's just not there. Now they claim that they detonated them, but I really don't hear a whole lot about what's going on where they're trying to find them. So, is this just another rabbit hole to go down to I just don't know. I'm not sure. So we're just going to keep, I've looked at these charts forever and ever. Okay, let's see what Keith has to say. Weren't they found by a person in a hoodie with a dark backpack? Yes. So this is why I decided to look at this. A person that found them at this particular park or this area right here, in this area, which is the DNC, and this just came out last week, and that's why I thought I would look at it. A person was in a hoodie with a backpack on the 6th that walked up to a police car and said, hey, by the way, there's a BOMB sitting over there by this bench. Well, they have identified that person as a Capitol Police person. So see the BOMB on the right. They are now saying that that person that went up to the police cars is actually a police person. So exactly. Linda says, wouldn't there be some kind of a proof or record if they detonated them? One would think. And apparently they were on a kitchen timer, which I would think a kitchen timer would, I don't know anything about them. So I just thought it was very fishy because it certainly is not showing up in the chart. What else was showing up in the chart? A lot of the charts, even for J5 and J6, are enemies. A lot of enemies were back and forth. And they were out in the open too. So a lot of government, we were right in the middle of our Pluto return in America. That was hitting. I would think that there would be kitchen timers and clip leads. Right. Not very, to me, I don't know. That doesn't look too, does that look very like high tech? Actually, jumper leads. It doesn't look too high tech to me. I think it was placed there to decoy law enforcement. Because let's face it, if somebody says BOMB, you're going to have a lot of people show up. So I think it was put there. Rand Paul asked the FBI director why that person had not been interviewed yet. Director avoided the question. They have, I believe they have identified that person. Why have they not been interviewed? Good question. So I think there are a lot of unanswered questions regarding this. The chart, and unfortunately, I hate that because I love to find stuff in charts, and I keep looking, and I'm always looking. There's just not a lot that shows there was a lot of bad activity occurring. So that's kind of, I know it's kind of a bust because it doesn't tell us much. So I thought, well, I'm going to map it. Let's map it and see if I can find anything when I map it. The mapping didn't show us much. So I'm like, damn, I'm a little disappointed in our mapping. There are the blue pins are the DNC and the RNC. So if I knew where a lot of the offices were, maybe we could, figure out who or what was going on. But I was kind of disappointed. But that's okay because that's how we learn. We keep digging and we keep looking. And I'll keep looking at these, and the more information that comes out in the news cycle, I'll certainly report it. And if there's another timestamp or other information, I'll bring it to you all. So, see, I agree with Lisa on this one. Look here, don't look over there. I agree. I think if ever, perhaps, some of those groups that showed up to be nasty people at the Capitol, put them there to get the law enforcement, out, away from the Capitol, maybe. That could be. Because I think the timing is suspect when that one was found. I think it's very suspect. Oh, by the way, there's a BOMB under a bench. It's just been there all day and all night. Whoops, we just saw it. So, it's kind of like, what? So that's it for the show for tonight, folks. I hope everybody has a great week. Let me get through the chat. Does anybody else have any other thoughts regarding the J5, J6 BOMB? It's kind of a bust, but, that's okay. Oh, and next week's show. I don't know how much of you guys heard about the 3 friends that in Kansas City, following the football game, they were found the next day in their friend's backyard. And there are 3 friends that are unalive right now. So that is a huge case that's going on right now. The boy that lived in the home claims that nobody knows what happened. It was freezing cold. And now we have 3 young men that are no longer with us. So what happened? This is just happened within 2 weeks ago. So we're going to cover that case next week, and we're going to see what happened in Kansas City after the football game. 3 young men went and they found him in the backyard. And the young man that lived in the house said he didn't know. He slept all day. So it's a pretty interesting case. We're going to cover that one next week. And again, you guys, don't forget to stay tuned for the Otter's Den for Miss Donna. And she's going to be doing tarot readings. So let's all get our tarot readings done. How exciting is that? So have a great week, everybody. And I will see you all next week. We'll go over Kansas City case. Stay warm. Keep your eyes open. And if you see a case, that you want me to look at, PM me and let me know. And if not, I will see you guys next week. We'll go over Kansas City. Have a great week. Thanks again for tuning in, you guys. Have a super week. And I'll see you guys at the Otter's Den while we're watching Keith. So have a great one, everybody. Thank you.